GMGK, what's going on, man? Excuse me.
Actually, just walking out the door for a sec.
Go for it, man.
I'll be right
Talk
back.
to you later. Yeah,
Yep.
talk to you later. Hey, Hunt, what's going on, Hunt?
Hold up, let me turn lo-fi down. What's up, Never Was? Good too.
Ain't nothing. How you been, man?
I'm good, dude. I got a puppy the other day.
Awesome.
A
So the
puppy?
PTT. Awesome.
I got a pit bull. Oh well. I mean, as long as I can like, I guess like train her to be good with like the baby. It's been kind of like weird because like I have like a 1-year-old and like a puppy, so I have to be like super careful and shit.
Yeah, for real. But hopefully they become lifelong companions and, they protect them.
Yeah, my son's already like obsessed with her, and she seems like she's not really like aggressive or anything, so she seems like she has a good personality. So I'm hoping she's alright.
Nice. How's everything else been, man? You been good?
Yeah, it seems good. I mean, Workstream, it seems to be going well. Like one of the things that like Tosi and I have been like trying to like figure out, kind of like seems to be resolving. Like hopefully soon. We have like somebody new in mind that we wanted to bring on to like back to DAO life. They were like a centralized fox, like super good with like PR and like stuff like that. I don't know if you know Lindsay from like months and months ago, but yeah, she's like super good. So she's gonna get like embargo set up like with a bunch of people again, and like just go through like doing like a whole bunch of stuff that kind of just like needs to happen and should have like already basically been happening. Should probably be able to like step in and fill gaps that other people like can't easily fill. And like further, like just like help people that are already doing certain jobs do their jobs a little bit better, understand like what they need to do, or at least set up a system in place for them to like get in the groove, like setting up embargoes for like Arena or like Pete's Workstream or whatever they need to do with like CoinDesk or like whatever the case may be. So I think it sounds like a really like good move in my opinion, in terms of like getting us better coverage. So I was been sort of like focusing on that for the last couple weeks or week or so, I guess.
Yeah, man. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like it definitely be useful to have that, task be under control and handled. So awesome, man. You're always good at finding.
Now recording.
Damn you, GK, and your recordings. Yeah, man. It sounds good, Hunt. You see MB Maria underneath us. She just joined the operations work stream all the way from down under in Australia. She's been an awesome new addition as an outside contributor, and it's just great to have her as well.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Hi all.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I think it'll be good for like even like there'll be like residual effects too. Like, like LATAM kind of needs like a little bit of help with like certain like specific like technical content writing. I basically like have to like consult on like documentation and then like try to like use like Google like read this like these articles that I'm like trying to like help like make like fluid and like factually correct and stuff. So it's a little bit tricky. It'd be easy if I just had like an English doc that was like already written that's like technically correct when we're doing like a release and stuff like that. Like for any given thing, like osmosis, for example, or like whatever the case may be. So
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Gray, GM. See you jumped on.
How you feeling, Gray?
A little 2 steps forward, 1 step back today, but hanging in there.
Yeah, feel better, man.
Thanks. I still have like my convention voice.
Yeah, take it easy today if you can. Hey, Hunt, are you gonna head down to Bogota possibly?
Colombia? No, my wife won't let me go to Colombia this year. That's like convincing my wife to let me go to Bogota would be like a year-long process of like buying her a lot of things.
I got
I'm still
you.
trying to convince her to let him go down to the end of the beach here, the bar or something.
Dude, yeah, like I just bought a puppy. Like she's already like super mad at me right now. Like coming home with a puppy randomly.
I got it for you, honey.
No, I can't even say that. That's the thing. That's what gets me in trouble because like it's definitely blatantly for me. How's your pup, Ron?
He's good. He's looking at the food I'm trying to make and looking like he wants to steal some.
Did you pick a name?
I did. It's gonna be Osmo for short.
Osmo.
Oh, that's
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, Sir Osmosis is what it's gonna be. SPR. So when he's in trouble, I'm gonna use his full name.
People are gonna look at you like you're a nerd, bro. It's like they're gonna be like, what the fuck?
People
It's
normally look at
like
me
they're
like I'm a
gonna look at
nerd.
you like you're a meteorologist. Like,
Not to make you talk a lot, Greg, because I know you're a little under the weather, but how'd you enjoy ETH Denver, man?
Hey, there I am. It was good. I mean, it was crazy. There was a lot of people there. A lot of the same questions. It was either like zero knowledge, like what is shapeshift, or something very specific because they've been using shapeshift for like 7 years or whatever. So very little in between. And then the ill-timed blizzard of the night that everybody was trying to get out to Eric's house was also an evening to remember. Definitely, all the buses got stuck, and we had to like walk through the blizzard to get to the house.
Oh, dang. Shit. How was your the product retreat for the team? Was it good
Yeah,
meeting everyone?
so that was good. It was really good. Finally got to actually meet people in person. I got really bad altitude sickness because I live at sea level here in Portland area, and the house was up at like 9,000 feet. And I went straight, like I got out of the plane. Willie was like waiting to pick me up as my plane was pulling in. So I like ran across the airport to find his car, like running all up. We couldn't find each other up and down these stairs, and got in his car straight up the mountain up to 9,000 feet. And everybody's like, drink water, drink water. And I kept drinking water, but that first night, I had like this headache that just would not go away through the evening. But after that, it was fine. So, just one bad day of altitude sickness.
Yeah. Definitely, that altitude can get you, man. It's a
Yeah, there's like a very small set of stairs that go from, I guess it goes without saying that they go from upstairs to downstairs. But like 5 steps and then a landing and then like another 5 steps, and all of us like we would have to like take like one like step to one step and then pause for a second and coming up, because otherwise if you tear up these stairs you can like get close to passing out, at least on the first day for me. So yeah, I'm just not an altitude person.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'm glad that it was a good experience though overall.
Yeah, it was fun. Played a lot of Jackbox on I think on the Switch.
I was interested. DeFi made this comment to me while we were working the booth together. He commented about how toppy the conference felt in terms of like at the top of the bubble. I've been to a lot of conferences over my crypto history, and I've definitely noticed sometimes the lingo goes in different areas, and I too equally felt kind of like DeFi that there were some people there maybe saying more than what was actually true or believable. I like find lots of people who say that they've been in Bitcoin since 2012 or 2013 and don't know what ShapeShift is to just be flat out fucking liars. And there were a lot of people that said that while we were there at ETH Denver. So I don't know if there's like ulterior motives and it's just the cool thing to do. There were lots of people that came up to ask us if like access to institutional funds for heavy 24-hour volume trading would be beneficial to our platform. And that just feels very unconnected from the crypto space in general. I don't know what other people who talked with people were, and I certainly didn't go deep into like the hackathon. I was on more of the like businessy elbow rubbing side of it. So I guess some of that's to be expected, but I was interested in what other people's perceptions were on that idea.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how many people were there besides you and me, Gray. Ron.
Yeah, Ron. Jess was there a little bit. I never saw Jess at the booth, and I tried to find the C4 booth.
Yeah, Tyler,
I don't
know
know.
what you
Or
mean.
was
I
it
was
just
thinking
them?
about how like toppy like the sentiment is like even in general, like on like Twitter and stuff like that. It seems like super overwhelming in terms of like good sentiment, even though we just like cut like the price of Bitcoin just got cut like really hard. And people are still super bullish, so it's like a little bit spooky, for sure. Like I don't know. Hopefully the major concern for me is like market makers like to take advantage sometimes of like super bad stuff like Russia stuff and stuff like that, right? So I just hope that like market makers don't take advantage and do something shady and like try to like dump on the price just out of like just pure FUD. That's like one concern that I had like the other week when I was thinking about like trading and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It has felt like toppy beyond just like ETH Denver events and stuff, in my opinion.
Could you expand on what you guys mean by toppy?
It's like cycle, like if you've been like in like a few like different like bull and bear cycles in crypto, they're just like the sentiment is just like I don't know, you can like feel it at some point. It's just
Drink the
Yeah.
Kool-Aid.
Like a couple of cycles ago, there was like a big thing about Coinbase going down and big price movements. And I don't know, Coinbase having a QR code on a Super Bowl ad feels very similar to a couple of years ago when people were screaming about it. So yeah, there's just these cyclical behavior patterns that show up either in deep bull or deep bear. And this feels like maybe the top of a transition. I don't know. Like I don't want to talk price speculation, and I'm in it for the tech. You know. Um,
Push your
I mean,
glasses up
Um,
with
it
one
is what it
finger
is.
while you're at it.
but it
like
was about.
the fact is some people don't even realize it, Tyler. So it might be maybe the community and like the usage is like it's so strong and like there's such a baseline like user count now that it doesn't really matter and it won't do like funky stuff. Like maybe we just have PTSD.
Totally. I think that there's, I don't know, maybe like to pivot this into a further conversation. Something about this too, I feel is like a lack of education. The like gravitas of a lot of these people showing up and pretending that they know things that they don't, or things like that, can lead to these people creating what that porn star NFT that just ran with a whole bunch of money. That just happened. You know, there are certain situations that if people were just slightly more educated on, and maybe we can be somewhat of stewards of our education in some of the space. I like tried to have as much non-condescending conversations with these I don't know, toppy people, but it's difficult sometimes, and I don't know what the best plan of attack is on helping people understand.
I don't know. I was thinking about like an education DAO the other day when I was trying to like, cause like I had like a bunch of conversations with like, might have been the Yuma's like new superhuman DAO about like being like realistic with education and like maybe it was Ichi too. There were a couple different people that like I was talking to about it in terms of like being realistic with like the way that you're framing like how you present your products and stuff to people and like how much education you really do and like the cost of like resources and doing all that education and like the cost benefit to that and like all that other stuff. And it was just like it's this nasty rabbit hole of like every protocol seems to like want to tackle the education thing, but like no protocol necessarily, in my opinion, like or even project or whatever has the funding to do that and provide their products effectively, and develop and build like fast. So it's like it's one of those things where like I think like protocols need to like come to an understanding that where like it's not always I don't in my opinion I don't think it's like necessarily like a super good idea to like just like dump a ton of resources on education and like change the way you frame your product just because you want to be able to like reach everybody. Sometimes it's better to like segment your customers like in a smart like way, in my opinion. But it's like a huge thing for crypto, you know, that like entry barrier has always been like a massive thing. That's why Coinbase is so successful. So, you know, it's just one of those things that's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a big like topic to discuss, I guess. Jess probably has opinions on it for sure.
I'd be interested in David's thoughts too. David's been in the space for a really long time and has maybe seen successful strategies for education as well as unsuccessful ones over different courses. Maybe there's something here that we can lean into a little bit more to be the start of something, or maybe this really is something that's still really difficult to take on one bite at a time.
Away from keyboard, I think.
I'm here. I was
I
just
think
giving
one of the
David a
challenges. Oh, sorry, Jess.
No, go ahead, Seth. No.
I think one of the challenges is just that the space changes so rapidly that, you know, anytime you invest in educational resources can become quickly outdated. So you have to be careful how you do it.
That was what I found the difficult thing to do is to quickly summarize everything that is ShapeShift, because a quick description makes it sound like 20 other booths that are there as well. I got a lot of like, oh, so it's like 1inch or it's like Zapper, and I'm like, well, kinda, but it's open source, you know. And then you're like trying to sell people on the value fundamentally of you know, open source and transparency, and then, you know, then they kind of get this blank stare and, you know, take a t-shirt and go on to the next booth. That was a lot of what I ran into, of like, you know, trying to shout over everything and quickly, concisely explain the value in ShapeShift in less than 30 seconds, you know.
Have you discovered anything in this process so far that is getting close to being like evergreen or reusable or not as like time specific?
That's a good question. I mean, what I saw was that everybody kind of had their own approach. Everybody came at it differently. Like a lot of people came at it from the DEX angle or the wallet angle or whatever, and none of those are right and none of those are wrong. So I don't know if I landed on anything that was that felt really solid, that really seemed to grab people, other than focusing on, you know, building tools as a community, you know, with transparency and with open source that anybody can use. And some people, I guess, you know, that resonates with some people, and other people, they just, you know, they're just there to ride the Web3 bubble, you know.
I did find like a lot of times when I was talking to people that bringing up like the interest or the outside interest in like Fox Chain that has already started before we've even gotten started with anything for phase one yet. Like, I feel like that generated a lot of excitement and some intrigue as to the future for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
I think that the like just having the Coinbase Cloud attachment, the Thorchain attachment to it, really sells a lot of people on it because they've heard of those projects, and if they're interested in getting this thing up and going from an outside entity, it's probably valuable.
Yeah, I usually would do a quick summary of like what it is, and then what the next couple upcoming main things are, right? And one obviously being Fox Chain, and the other I was talking about Foxy, right?
So I struggled with pitching Fox Chain successfully at ETH Denver. I felt like when I used the word Infura, I had a lot of glazed eyes that had no idea what the hell I was talking about. And then I would pivot and use something like Chainlink and their price on the blockchain, the prices of different assets on the blockchain is like a metaphor, and even that was like super loose for people to understand. So I don't know if someone has like a Fox chain for people who aren't coders pitch, but like I definitely struggled with anyone who wasn't a coder at ETH Denver to understand the benefits of Fox chain. I don't know if anyone else did.
So I wasn't at ETH Denver, or at least not at the booth, unfortunately. But Fox Chain in general, because it is mostly a backend focused thing, can be hard to explain to the average user. I think the best explanation of it is simply that it's the thing that will power decentralized interfaces. It's what can make the back part, the node infrastructure, decentralized so that an interface can be truly decentralized. That's the very, very, very layman's term version of it. The reality is, once Fox Chain is built, if it's doing its job well.
Did he cut
This
out?
or understand it. It's far more for developers than it is for users.
I'll say I had a similar experience to John, where I kind of said that this is something that will help fully decentralize things moving forward, and that kind of struck the note. Like, this is one of the last big pieces that we'll need in order to be a fully decentralized DAO.
Does anybody else have something they want to touch on? Any topics you want to cover? Questions, stuff like that?
Hope everyone's feeling okay.
Yeah, John, did you avoid the bugs that were going around? Were you able to avoid it yourself?
I mean, I was only at the party on the 16th, so I had to fly out on the 17th, so I didn't actually go to most of ETH Denver.
I feel like I spent more time in line than I did at the booth, and I got so sick from it.
Hey John, you want to do like a high-level overview of that, what you were describing yesterday at the tokenomics call for people that might not have been there? I don't know if Jess was there. I know I had to have Latam go over that call. I don't know if everybody here was there.
Sorry, I didn't fully hear what you said there, hun. You talking about VFox?
Yeah, for sure.
So I talked about this a little bit on the tokenomics call yesterday. I'm sure we'll cover it a little bit more on the governance call tomorrow, most likely. But basically, I've put up a new proposal on Monday for a sub DAO that I am calling VFox, or for Venture Fox. And the idea is that this is a sub DAO treasury that's main goal will be to invest in the DAO ecosystem. So the broader DAO ecosystem, and particularly in the ecosystem that the ShapeShift DAO wants to see exist and wants to integrate with and wants to partner with. So it will basically act as a separated arm of the DAO whose goal is to invest in these opportunities, foster these relationships and partnerships, bring us closer to early stage projects, and also potentially participate in their upside if we do our job well. That's the kind of very TLDR synopsis. I have a lot more detail into what that all means and how it would all work in the proposal on the forum if you're interested to read through that, and I'm happy to answer questions, but that's kind of the TLDR.
I'll post the link to the forum and the video from yesterday in the stage chat for anyone that wants to check it out.
Thanks, John. Yeah, Seth.
Yeah.
Were you on that call yesterday? Did you hear about that?
Which call?
The tokenomics call last night.
I was.
Yeah, what do you think about it? Sound kind of cool?
It does, although I don't feel that I have a great grasp on it, so it's something I'd be interested to learn more about.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Jess. I was like, it would definitely be like a topic that we would probably like need to educate people on for sure. Especially like if it's so closely like aligned and like stems from the DAO, from this DAO. So it'd probably be good to like tell people about it and try to get some information out there for people.
Yeah, I'm happy to chat more about it with anyone who has questions. I kind of figure that we'll keep talking more about it over the next few weeks as it progresses. It's just an idea in the forum now. Kind of an incubation. It'll get moved to ideation maybe towards the end of this week if the feedback remains positive, and I'm sure we'll talk about it too on the next few governance calls. So hopefully there'll be a lot of opportunities for people to learn more about it.
I mean, everyone kind of probably knows that's been around for a while that I'm a shill for, contributors and outside contributors having involvement and stuff. I would love to see. I think it's a fascinating concept, and definitely would like to learn more. But I think that I'd love to see some like, and without volunteering him, without his knowledge or anything like that, but like someone like PTT on like a on that type of. I know you listed 3 people in there, John, but I'd love to see someone who is very like um, tenacious, loves researching things, loves providing useful data back to the community, and loves to build relationships and look at new projects. On that team, as well as some of the individuals that you may have on there because of their existing connections and involvement in the past with other groups that you guys may have had conversations with previously. But I personally, as a community member, would love to see you know fresh blood kind of introduced into it. But I know that you probably have specific reasons why you picked the list of the 3 people that you listed. I mean, 2 people, including yourself. But yeah, I mean, that's just my initial take was that I would really like to see a little bit broadening of that, when it comes to the DAO stuff. But otherwise, I'm really intrigued by the tokenomics aspect of it, the interrelationships, and what it can mean going forward for building relationships and adding, different features and stuff into our product lines and applications going forward.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit on the tokenomics call yesterday. My goal was to keep the initial committee on this sub-DAO relatively small for nimble and execution reasons. I don't, and also it's a relatively small amount of money to start, in my opinion. Originally, I was going to make it much bigger, but then I reduced it a lot. I think as it grows, that committee will likely need to grow, and then we would bring in more people. But also, more importantly, one of the first goals I'll have, if and when this thing passes, will be to develop a program as part of that sub-DAO so that anyone in the community can participate. My goal, again, as I said yesterday, is to rely on the larger community. That won't always mean that, everyone's in the committee. And similar to like what we do with TMDC, where like there's a committee of people who have a vote, but there's a lot of other people who join those calls and participate and throw out ideas. I want this to be something similar where anyone can come and anyone can be rewarded for their participation, or bringing deals or helping research or helping do due diligence. I think that we can definitely develop a program that allows anyone in the DAO to participate. And that's really my goal. I think that that will be one of the strengths of this model compared to maybe more traditional models, is that this can really be a community run effort and we can rely on the strengths of the community to do that. So that is going to be one of the first things that I try to tackle, if and when this is passed, is how do we develop a good program for that? But I'm pretty optimistic and bullish that will be the case.
Understood. Yeah, nice. Well, somebody's got to talk. Go for it.
Yeah, I have something.
It's
I'm pretty sure I'm mandated by law to speak at this meeting about something. So, the question I have this time is, how do we measure the health of the DAO? So, for example, with a traditional business, reading an income statement of expenses and revenues is very helpful. And I feel that we don't have that kind of reporting going on. I think it would be useful every now and then to have it presented to the members of the DAO so that we know how how the DAO is functioning as a whole and how each work stream's doing.
Isn't that kind of like the purpose of the engineering updates, the ops updates, the Marsari reports that are, I think, in ideation right now that hopefully will get passed? Isn't that kind of like the health of the DAO being reported, or?
I think it might be like referring to like the sustainability in terms of like having like a dashboard of like data on like income and like output, like you know how
Yeah.
much we spend, yeah, something like that.
Like the
Treasury
dashboards
Or
that
how
are
many
in production?
contributors do we have at the end of every month? People how many people were paid in the last month? The metrics like that can be, I think, very helpful in seeing where we are.
Yeah, I'm hoping Colony kind of has like some additional like updates that they're gonna do relatively soon in terms of like being able to like go back and look, because like you have to make spreadsheets basically right now, because like going back and looking on Colony, like Colony's history, like the UI doesn't like allow you to see like data like as you would want to see it in like spreadsheet form, in my opinion, like sometimes. So you have to like manually take the data like real time, take the data down and like kind of like work off of it, and then like make sure you have that data stored for like future reference and like centralized spot and like stuff like that. So hopefully like Colony sort of fixes like some of the accounting, but like I think Darwin was talking the other day, maybe with like Willie or something, or you, Ron, about like some sort of like accounting like initiative, or I don't know. I'm not like super in the loop about that, but that was my sort of my hope that we would have some more features on Colony relatively soon. But if you guys have recommendations for them, I'm sure that they would be like super willing to like accept those recommendations for sure.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
mean,
where oh,
go ahead, PT.
Okay. I talked to Darwin at ETH Denver. It sounded like he doesn't know when he'll be wrapping up his stuff that he's still working on. But he did say that he was looking to start making a more concerted effort to do some work with the DAO. So it could be worth reaching out to him to see if he had any ideas. He seemed like he was looking forward to working with the DAO, at least when I had talked to him. But it was also at like 2 a.m. and we were on a bus going 10 miles per hour down a very snowy road. So would have to talk to him again in a bit more normal hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Seth, I think that in a traditional sense, yeah, you have like numbers like that, like you were saying, like traceable budgets and numbers and payouts and documentation of that nature. But I think in the DAO, and this is new to me as well, so I definitely can only speak from my thoughts of it. But I think that there's obviously other ways to measure like the DAO's success and strengths, and I think we touch on some of those things a little bit now, and we might focus on them additionally in the future. But like with voting, participation, contributors, the ability to offload work to bounties and introducing new people into the community and getting them more involved. And I think the education could be a big part of that, where, how are we educating our users and DAO members and getting them involved with, just the governance, as well as contributing to initiatives that we develop and build within the DAO itself. So I think that there's other ends of that we may you know continue to explore and build as we are our capability grows. But there's definitely some things that may be more unique to a DAO organization versus a traditional sense one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Never was. I was just listing a few examples off the top of my head. But I also think this reporting would not just be useful to people considering working for ShapeShift, but it would also be useful for people holding the Fox token, right? If I have no idea how much money what the revenue and the profit is of a company, why would I want the equivalent of stock in it, right? So this could if we did that kind of reporting in an easy to understand fashion, I think that could also help the price of Fox token.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, I think I'll talk to this with Willie the next time I see him. So
Oh,
Yeah,
Seth.
I would love to see that reporting for what it's worth. I mean, the reality is all of this is really on chain of like how much is the DAO treasury bringing in terms of various types of revenues and how much is it putting out every month. But that should be something anyone can do.
it is a computable problem. There's no doubt about that because it's on a blockchain. But
So what, dashboard?
expecting people to compute it themselves in order to understand the business, I think it's much more effective if like once a month someone were to aggregate the data and present it.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that anyone in the community could make those reports. But I agree. I'm not expecting the average person to come compute it themselves. But it would be nice if someone stepped up and just started doing a monthly report on that.
Ooh, might be a nice little bounty that the community might feel worthwhile and want to dish out if it's something that works in a manner as expected.
Yeah, I feel like we
if
know
it,
like an
if it's a
accountant.
bounty, maybe I should talk to Kent about it. Tokenomics would definitely
Yeah, it's not a
be
bad
good
idea.
candidate.
I bet Kent would be very open to funding a bounty for someone to start doing that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, Seth, that call with Willie's on 2:30 or at 2:30 on Friday, I think, Mountain Time. So that's
great.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely see that there's an opportunity there for someone that's willing, like John said, to go and build the resources and the tools and do it in a way that kind of aligns with what we're trying to gather and disseminate as far as information and data. So yeah, that would be probably a great thing to look at and provide to the DAO and the community in general.
Anyone
And
eating good lunch?
no lunch for me yet, but I will probably a little later on get something. But yeah, I was just gonna say, anyone else have anything else they want to bring up, discuss? I do see some new faces in here, and not to put her on the spot, but we do have a new operations assistant that joined the team this week, an MB Maria, and we're excited to have her on the team. She is another international contributor, and she's coming from Australia, so it's great to have her on the team. I don't want to put her on the spot to speak, but I definitely just wanted to point that out to everyone in the room.
So you guys are talking about lunch and it's 6:36 a.m. So I'm thinking about breakfast.
That's 2:30 here.
Well,
Excited to be here.
no one's saying you have to have lunch for lunch. You can have breakfast for lunch.
This is true.
Well, welcome and thanks for joining us, even though it's like the crack of dawn by you.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Hey, miss, I thought you were under the weather. I didn't want to disturb you.
I am not 100%. I think, as DeFi said, we've all come home with the ETH Denver co-op, so.
Yeah.
Gray Machine, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm all right.
Oh, you sound rough. I know Tyler was struggling, and John, hopefully you guys made it out okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was the Eric party that was the problem. I think it was just the wall-to-wall people everywhere at the conference hackathon thing.
Yeah, the castle I think was a bit of a dangerous
and it
zone.
was not ventilated at all. Like that was probably
air
a huge
purifiers.
part of it. We had a window that we couldn't open.
Yeah, it was brutal in there by what was it, Friday or Saturday. That was just a struggle.
Yeah, I don't know if ETH Denver, the people that coordinate the event have some sort of like retrospective or something that they would have. I hope they're looking at not having it there ever again. It's just too small of a space. It's just a super old building. All the windows are like hard, like there is no opening of any windows to get any ventilation in there.
Yeah, if you guys have feedback you want to share with the organizers of ETH Denver, I've shared some of what I've heard with them, but they are definitely looking to hear more from people. So like if there's a message from ShapeShift's team that was at the booth that you want me to pass on, I'd be happy to do so. There are people on the team that do want to hear like what people actually thought, and sponsors in particular, if it felt like you would come back, what you would want different, that kind of a thing. So I mean, obviously like your opinion just as a attendee matters, but so does as part of the sponsoring team from ShapeShift. I know that they would like to hear more about that.
I know we've talked about getting together for a debrief. Danielle and Brittany and I did real briefly on Sunday, and not necessarily strictly about like the ETH Denver official events, but also the ShapeShift events. But I think it would be wise for all of us to kind of get together, whether that's asynchronous or real time, to kind of discuss our feedback as well.
Yeah, I don't want it to be one of those things where there's like 999 things that went right, and I'm going to be complaining about the things that I feel went wrong. So I want to recognize like what a massive undertaking it was, and probably so much stuff that went right that I didn't even think of, right? Like all the things that had to happen to get that. The big struggles for me were, as somebody that's volunteering to be there at the booth, especially when the bathrooms exploded, was like this.
That was a bad deal.
Yeah, the like, well, you can leave, but it will take you 2 hours to get back in. Like. So then it encouraged me just to stay there more, because I'm like, well, I don't want to leave because then I'm going to be standing in line for 2 hours. And I think that's just further pointing to that place being it was over capacity for the venue.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the opportunity to meet all of the people, but I cannot imagine what it was like for them to have to stand in line for hours just to get in once and then not be able to leave. Well, I mean, or you could leave, you just couldn't get back in.
Yeah.
So for reference, for those of you who were not at ETH Denver, basically what it was is the main venue where they had all of the booths and the sponsors and things like that hanging out. That was all in one venue, and unless you had a special pass to get in, the capacity for it was like 500 general admission tickets. And the last number that I heard is that there were 10,000 people there. So if you just had a general admission ticket and wanted to get in, you were standing in line well over 2 hours to even be able to get into the main venue.
Which included folks that were like at volunteering at a booth but needed to go out and have a bathroom break or grab lunch at the food trucks. Yeah.
But I have heard that overall the ShapeShift booth was well received. Eric had told me that he had gotten some really good feedback on like us having a great like a good vibe at our booth, which I thought was really awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot of interest, like for being kind of tucked away where we were,
Yeah.
behind a booth and then behind Cow Swap. There was quite a bit of traffic coming back there.
Did we miss any? I don't know if anybody's here that was not in Denver. Did we miss anything good here this week? Hunt, you were around.
No, I mean Latam's been planning E3O for the last like couple weeks. I think I'm sending like 3 of them, I believe. I think one's from Colombia maybe, or yeah, I think Colombia, and he's going down to Rio, but that's really all we've been doing for the last like couple weeks, to be honest.
Copy.
I mean,
Sweet.
you missed out on the 5 free ETH that we gave everyone that was around last week. I mean, we gave out free money, but just that. It's nothing, no big deal.
Never was. You're killing me.
We did get a lot of us got the 1-inch airdrop tokens that were, or at least I hope you all did. That was there. They
Yeah,
gave
I
me
gotta go.
tokens.
I gotta claim mine yet. Hunt, if the folks that you are sending to E3O would like any have any questions or want to talk about what our experience was or anything, obviously it's going to be a completely different event, but I'm sure we'd all be open to sharing what went well and what didn't.
Yeah, I got like one of the guys that runs like the event to like basically like have their back a little bit and like guide them through
Sweet.
like the event process, so that'll be pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like me and Toasty were able to get him like 100 like ShapeShift shirts printed down there for like basically nothing. It was ridiculous how cheap it was. So it'll be cool for them to just like hand out like a bunch of like ShapeShift swag that like nobody in North America will probably get unless they're like going down to like E3O. So it's kind of cool. I think they're including like some like QR code where like people can like scan the shirt and like claim Xbox somehow. If they like do some steps, I'm not too sure exactly like what we're doing with the layout and the steps that we're gonna follow, but it should be kind of cool.
That's awesome. I did not see anyone who had QR codes actually on their merch.
I know. I love like coming up with ideas with those guys. They're pretty cool. And they like design the shirts and like got a quote on the shirts and everything like pretty quickly, so it's pretty cool.
Sweet. If you can share a proof, I would love to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Get plenty of small and medium. Crypto people seem to be really small.
They were much smaller than I thought they would be.
Yeah, we
Oh,
ran out
really?
of small and medium like right away.
That's
It-
weird. Usually we run out of the XLs.
Yeah. Oh no, we had
usually
we had
small
XL coming out the years. We had so many of them. That was like the last pile.
Wow, that's
Probably the
not
XL
that's
they're
surprising.
picking up.
That's not actually normal for most crypto events.
No, it was a different crowd than I expected, that's for sure.
You guys gotta send GK some t-shirts then. Sounds like you might have some in his size.
I doubt it. XL doesn't cover.
I think in the end, I think we got rid of all of the merch. At the end, I saw that there was one small of the giveaway shirt left, and it looked like unless somebody picked up the box of Keep Keys, all the Keep Keys must have been given out as well.
Yeah, those were given out.
What was the reception on those?
It was mixed. A lot of confusion, and the people that I talked to, they didn't know what it was, so having to explain exactly what a keep key was, and the stuff coming down the pipeline for that was a bit of. They're familiar with hardware wallets, but they weren't familiar with Keep Keys brand, so.
Okay. What what kind of who did we give them out to? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I gave out keep keys to people who felt like they were going an extra step above. You know, if they were engaging in conversation and understood what we were talking about and weren't just like, hey, can I get a t-shirt kind of person. And there was a pile of keep keys on the table available to grab. It was kind of like an icing on the cake. I never referenced them over there, but when there was good people talking good conversations, I felt it was like a nice little surprise carrot, you know.
I gave them to people that I thought would be potential partners or contributors, so that way, if it was like an entering person that was looking for bounties, they didn't have to go find a keep key in order to do any kind of keep key bounty work.
Tyler, I'm glad to hear that you also came out alive.
Just barely. I got a real bad sinus infection. And I just gave it to my girlfriend too, so now she's fucking pissed at me.
Sorry. I shouldn't laugh. That's not funny. But I imagine that she's lovely, and I would not mess with her.
Yeah, she was pissed that I had to go work at this cool conference for 4 days and then get sick afterwards while she had to do her regular job. So I told her to come join a DAO and do weird, stupid work with me too.
Sure that got you out of trouble, bro.
Send her over my way. I've got some opportunities.
Yeah, speaking of keep keys, how many are left? Like, I know Highlander and Pasta were talking to Latam or the Smith specifically. He's trying to set up like some way to get like import keep keys down there. He was basically like questioning how many like we had to sell to like get like for them to start working on like the new like version of keep key. I was like basically 50,000. He was like he didn't believe me. But
I think the
sure
number's higher than 50. I think it's like closer to 60 or 80. John might.
It was 60,000 reported wise.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
And that was before the news. So and I don't know what they give away at Denver and all that stuff.
We only gave away like 50 of them at East Denver.
Is there, out of curiosity, because of the conversation, and John, you might, if you're not eating, might know more about this than others. Is there any plans for maybe like a proposal for the DAO to kind of fund, Highlander and Pasagos and give them the opportunity to do a new version of the Keep Key and update it hardware wise and get it manufactured, or are they going to do all that out of pocket within their own means?
I think I heard that's going to happen the other way around. And Highlander and Pasagos were working on some proposals, but John might know more.
Yeah, I don't have an update. I actually, it's a reminder that I have it on my list to follow up with them. I don't know what their exact current plans are. I thought they were going to be making some sort of proposal to the DAO. Not necessarily a proposal for new hardware. They have plenty of Keep Key hardware, which is still very good hardware. Maybe eventually on that, but more on trying to basically, they're already going to be working on, new firmware updates, new software updates. And I think they wanted to find a way to more directly partner with the DAO. At least that was my understanding of their intentions. But I haven't followed up with them in a while, so I will probably do that.
Yeah, cool. Because they gave a great demo. I mean, Highlander gave a great demo a couple weeks back, and I liked where he was thinking and the direction he was going, and the concept that they were putting out there. So yeah, the firmware and the software side of it, I did see that demo, but yeah, I wasn't sure about the hardware stuff. But I guess from all accounts, they have, like it was said, 60,000 or maybe 50,000 plus devices available, if that's what I heard correctly a little while ago.
One thing for any future booths that we have, I think it would be really helpful to have a laptop and probably even a keep key set up to actually show the stuff that we're talking about. Like we keep, waving our hands and talking about how it's a wallet and you can trade and you can earn and all that. And then, I mean, aside from trying to point at the video at the right time, having something to actually demo what we're talking about would probably be really helpful. I mean, it was a really small area. Like we didn't have a lot of extra room as it was to set up another monitor or whatever, but I'm sure if we kind of think about it ahead of time, it might be quite useful.
Would we basically be looking at having 2 laptops set up then? One to run the video and then one to do demos on?
Either that, or we just switch out of the video to do a demo and then switch back, like a HDMI switch or something like that, or just switch the TV, I guess, to a different input.
One other great idea might be that also you could have a tablet like an iPad or an iOS device that, because the app runs natively within mobile currently, we could just have one of those floating around. You guys could have it in your hand and just show them as a screen right on the device itself, possibly.
Yeah, that would not allow us to do keep key though, right?
Yeah, you couldn't do keep key that way.
True. Yeah, I guess if we were bundling keep key in with the app, yeah, that would make sense.
But if it was something like a Microsoft Surface or something like that, like something mobile and compact, just something, I don't know, something to think about.
Now that you say it, I think it would be really cool if you did a live demo that was on the main screen, just because, how many times wasn't it where you were having a conversation with one person and then other people got interested?
Right.
So if you had it up on that main screen, it would definitely be a attention grabber of like, oh, hey, what are they doing? I can listen to this too.
Yeah, like every half hour, just we could run a trade, or even just set it up so that we're not spending the funds. But yeah, just a quick walk through the interface, connecting, looking at your assets and doing a trade and looking at their yield options, and just trying to describe to people how much better and I'm sure we all use a ledger too, but how much better the experience is on a keep key. Like, it's hard to describe. I'm like trying to describe that it's like these buttons and numbers and versus the furious button smashing that you have to do to get your ledger unlocked. I think it would be good.
Would it be okay for us to maybe do, like, in those demos, actually send out small amounts of Fox to users who are watching there? Like, if we set it up like we're like the knife lady at the supermarket, that's doing everything every
Shout
30
out your
minutes,
Ethereum address.
Yeah. Or just everyone holds up their QR codes, I don't know. That might be a way to have it be more entertaining.
Yeah, getting Fox into the pockets of the people that are coming to the booth, I don't think would be a horrible idea. Especially with Foxy coming.